Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm going to be picking up Citizen Sleeper once again. So, we have made our way to Feng's Bay. Me and Peak are going to go in there and we're going to try and convince him to help us save the station. A rather interesting plan. I've got to find him first. Feng isn't in their bay and no one in the office upstairs seems to know where they are. Your lone clue is an out to lunch note. Luckily we got a couple of sixes though to help us. It won't get it all done today. It's going to take at least 3 die to make it happen. So we'll do what we can. And then we've got to go rest. Luckily we've got an empty container right here we can do it in. It's not the best place to sleep, but it's right here. We'll do a self-repair as well. Just keep our condition nice and high. In cycle. So we're going to be 11 cycles from the end of, well, the end of the station, potentially, if we can't fix it. What do we get? High numbers would be good, and we get a load of rubbish, the complete opposite of what we had before. Okay, well, we got the 4 and the 3 are okay. Once we've done those, I'll re-roll the others. We'll try the 4 here. That should be enough to finish this one. That's it, no more wasting time. Peak sighs and pulls out their slate. They crack open a box on the side of the bay's shutter and wire the slate to what's inside. Maybe your friend is a Havenage passcard or something inside. Peak shoots you a glance. Something they wouldn't mind if we burrow. Alright, fine, but be quick. Peak nods without looking up. I'm going as quick as I can. After a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins to grinding open, the noise making you jump. Let's get inside, quickly. Peak glances around. You slip into the dark of the bay, punctuated by the blinking lights of Feng's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. Peak makes a beeline for the desk at the centre, scattered with tools and components. They flick on a lamp and stare at the mess. Are you sure this person can help us? They are a little disordered. You're interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone has come in behind you. Peak freezes. What was his voice? I could swear I closed this shutter when I left. Feng leans on a stack of servers near the entrance. Must be getting forgetful. He grins at you. Sloppy? I'm the one who makes the joke, Sleeper. Feng's... Oh, is it... Oh, it's Feng, even though it's Peak here, I think. I'm the one that makes the joke, Sleeper. Feng smiles. Don't start. Feng raises an eyebrow. Thought you'd come rob an old friend. Is that the plan? We need your help. Feng nods. You'll hear about the flux. Peak nods and is suddenly giving Feng their full attention. Feng smiles, pleased with himself. I guessed as much. I saw changes in the old system architectures almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station, and so when I saw new patterns, shifts in logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles I've been doing a total inventory of the core systems, from the hub to the rim. He grins. I've surprised myself, to be honest. I didn't think I had it in me. Peak seems unamused. What did you find? Feng sighs. Oh, that's the thing. There's something all twisted up in the systems and protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears. Peak finishes. Feng turns to you. Do they always do that? Peak ignores him. It's a shadow protocol. It masks itself somehow, bedding into the gaps between the systems, in the negative space. It's slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taken over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station, rotational control, life support. Feng holds up a hand. Whoa, slow down there. I don't even know your name. Feng shakes his head. And you're asking for the keys to the castle? Oh, can't be done. Feng, it's me. Feng pauses and glances between both of you. How long have you known this one, Sleeper? I know I owe you, but I also know that you trust too easily. Sorry to say it. Peak cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came to the Eye on the run from the XPR colony Hawthorne, with the intent to keep running until we hit the starboard belt. But since I've been here, I've done everything in my power to protect this place. I've helped to stabilise the refugee flotilla, to investigate the flux, to identify and make a plan to purge the Shadow Protocol from the station systems. Meanwhile, Havenage has done everything to stop and slow these actions. I've proven myself as a friend to the people of this station, not the administration, many times over. And I will not be doubted by someone who wears the badge of this corrupt administration. Peak fixes Feng with a hard look. Feng looks down at their Havanage jacket and shrugs. Oh, this is all I have in my wardrobe. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend, but someone has to run this place, and that someone is me. Feng walks over to the workbench where you're both standing and digs a slate out of the pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. Peak grabs the slate and you recognise the tangled form of a fluxed node on the screen. Peak immediately starts tapping away at it, its tendrils unwinding, and the shadow, just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Feng leans in. Interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Peak has unfolded the system completely, and it lies splayed out like an unwound ball of string. At the centre, with nowhere left to hide, is the dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. What now? Feng asks, his eyes fixed on the screen. How do you kill it? That's why we're here. Feng looks intrigued. Go on. There's one entity on the station that we've seen purge in the shadow. The Gardener. Feng frowns. Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Pete glances at you. More like an avatar of the Greenway itself. You explain the Gardener to Feng, the feeling of descending into the flowing river of consciousnesses. You explain the networked chorus, the non-human collective of voices. You tell him of the farming AI's offer to you, to be networked into the chorus, dissolved in its flow. And I think I mentioned in the previous part of the series, that's actually when I was playing on my own, prior to starting a YouTube channel, that's actually the ending I chose, which came very abruptly. I think it came after about 30 cycles. I think we're on cycle 80 or something by now. Then you explain that by granting it access to the AI's major networks, you hope to reinforce them. Feng is silent for a moment. And you want to let this thing out? He shakes his head. That's the kind of stupid plan I dream up. He pauses. I like it. He smiles. This place is rammed with weird protocols and forgotten intelligences anyway. What's one more ghost in the machine? We'd try to limit it, of course, Peak explains. That's why we want your help to access the AI's major systems, to seed some of the Gardener's spores into them, to draw the Gardener's focus to those places. Feng whistles. So the way we save the eye is by growing mushrooms in all the server stacks? He glances at you. Sleeper, congratulations! You found someone weirder than you. Peak goes to argue, but Feng holds up a hand. In it is an all-systems Havanage pass card with his picture on it. Take it, before I change my mind. Thank you. Don't mention it. Feng gives you a look. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked. So if you're telling me you have figured out a way we might fight it... He looks at Peak. No matter how crazy, then I'm glad to help. He smiles a tight smile. Come with us. No, Sleeper. He looks away. I have to keep on with my work here. Strengthen those systems. Back up the data. The worst comes to the worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last pieces of my parents are here among the data. Might be the last time we see him. Goodbye, Feng. Feng embraces you firmly. Stay safe, Sleeper. You take the card and leave the bay with Peak. Once you're outside, they stop you. We should split up. Peak looks worried. We've wasted enough time as it is. Head to the facilities in the hub, the free spoke and the far side of the shipyard. Seed the Gardener there. I'm going to find the core control center that's somewhere on the rim. They hold up their slate. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder and you exchange fearful looks. You know deep down that Peak isn't sure this will work, but they have decided to act, to move with confidence. And for that confidence, you're very thankful. So where have we got to go? I mean, it will tell us, won't we? We'll just go from end to end and find the right slots. Power routing. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to need mushroom spores. It's pretty good that I've just got some of those and then immediately started growing them. Oh well. We need one there for certain. I think they said there's one up in the eye. Let's have a little look-see. Yeah, there's one here. Rotational control. Again, we need one. Oh. I think we need 3 in each place. That's 6 so far, so presumably we're going to need 9 total. Now if we can find the other place it needs to go. Where's the other place it needs to go? Oh, here. I'm assuming it's going to need another... yeah, okay, so 9 spores. So we're going to spend a bit of time farming those. It's going to be a few... at least 3 cycles, I think, to get that done. Collect spores, yeah, so... What's a neutral? Oh, we get 2 at a time, though. Oh, maybe not. Get 1. A good outcome is 2. Okay. Get anything good on the reroll? Actually, yes. So hopefully we get 2 with this. Yep. So that's a third of what we need. If I do this, we've got a 50% chance of getting a couple. Get 1. So that's 4. What if I use my 1? We've got a okay, there's only a 25% chance of losing energy. That's fine, I'll just eat. Got 1. So we're just over halfway, so that's pretty good. I think what I'll do is eat at the collective. Is that here? No. Well, it might be, but we need dice for it. Where do we eat? Bad for food. We'll do that. I don't want to steal harvest. I can't anyway. I'm out of stuff. So let's use that. There we go. And we'll sleep over here. We can go another day without using scrap to keep our... Oh, I've come out, so to speak. End cycle. Fingers crossed for some high dice. We can always re-roll, of course, but you never know quite what you're going to get. Like a box of chocolates. But that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think we should be able to get what we need with that. So we need 4. So actually, if I used my 2 4s, that's basically guaranteed of getting all that we need. There we go. That's the 9. Cross back over. So we've got the eye first and seed that. Oh, it's just got to grow. Well, we didn't... I guess we could have come and done this last cycle, but we needed to sleep anyway. At least I've got loads now, in case I need more. Alright, we only need 1. I didn't realise that. Sidereal's about to go. I wonder what happened with the guy and his daughter. I don't know if you can even visit them anymore. I don't think so. Where was the other one? Around here somewhere, wasn't it? It's this one. It's not this one. It's this one. Oh, and they each add to the clock. Okay. Damn, wish I'd realised that. I thought we had to do 3 in each place. Maybe it could be slightly better explained, actually, but it's fine. As you leave, the slate Pete gave you chirps insistently. You check and see a message. Found possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me here, ASAP, Peak. A blinking marker gives their position as on the free spoke side of the main block. Better head to the low end. Yeah, that's not too far. We can go do that. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak's slate. A run-down but active corner of the low end, where a short, glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street life go by. Children hop across grids scratched into the metal floor plates, playing games of their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play tavla. It's hard to believe that this is all at threat. That all this is at threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all this? As you're watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the tavla tables set up along the way. Castor. I can't remember his voice. You move a little closer and recognise the sitting player immediately. Castor sits, tavla pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you.
Sleeper, My partner's on a ride for our usual game. Come, please take her place.
He beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him.
A rematch is in order. You owe me a game.
Almost immediately, Castor begins the game. Everyone on the eye knows how to play Tavla. The methodical movement of the counters across their triangular points are ready fit for the rhythm of life on the ramshackle space station. It's like backgammon, which I also don't know how to play. Most games begin in the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused only on achieving their optimal early game setup. But there is a moment in each game where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board, a point of contact when routine becomes negotiation, and negotiation becomes conflict. As this moment arrives, this subtle shift in the texture of the interaction, Castor begins to speak.
I find myself surprised by you continually, Sleeper.
He looks over his glasses at you.
The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious refrain, a defensive, protective quality. But in your Tabla game,
he pauses to move a counter.
I see only risk.
What are you talking about?
Risk, Sleeper. I'm talking about risk. Risk is of course necessary to play Tabla. To move a piece is to expose it, while it should be done with calculation, with proper analysis. Then if the piece is taken...
Castor moves a counter, taking one of yours with a practiced swap, placing it beside the board.
It is already accounted for. But you move forward with abandon as if risk was just a secondary effect of action, a consequence, not its primary guide.
He gestures for you to take your turn.
A cause.
I play my way. He smiles.
Indeed, indeed. This is all I seek.
You move your piece.
This locks you into being reactive. If you don't mind me saying so, you are responding, which means you are being led.
He leans back to consider the board.
This place, it mirrors you, Sleeper. It is also reactive. It was born from a crisis, the collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guiding principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at our refugee crisis, for example. It is all reaction, all risk-taking, and little risk calculation. At first, I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes. But now, I find it exhausting.
He laughs.
It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the eye. Spun from the rim. What better metaphor could you find for disorder?
His face drops.
Why am I telling you that? That facility is precisely why you are here.
He smiles an unsettlingly warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body as if something has changed in the air. How do you know about that? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Castor is still smiling.
The risk you are planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take.
Castor's tone is unshifted. He speaks as if this is still some casual conversation between passing acquaintances.
You are leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes, that's my specialty. That's why I'm here. I was hired as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival.
He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across their surface, a shimmering stream of characters.
This system, this station is already theirs. Solheim's collapse meant a corporate fire sale. Assets changed hands. My employers, Senate Stat, bought out the entire system, and for the past decades have been its one valid owner.
He polishes his glasses diligently.
But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses, Helion to you, well, that is a matter of risk. Of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take.
He replaces his glasses.
That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk. The markets change, the demands shift, and Senate Stat. We analyze, we follow, we respond.
He puts his glasses back on his face.
H1 is about to become the most important system in this part of the galaxy.
He glances around.
The lone CAN channel operating within a range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, re-evaluating the risk, reclaiming our property. starting up the can channel and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back looking at the board. He gestures. Your move.
Senate stat is causing the flux? You managed to force out the words. Castor looks a little surprised.
Senate stat is acting to reclaim their property from a legal occupation, to re-establish H1 as a foremost colony of the surrogacy program. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you, but in the role as an analyst in my calculations, I see great promise in you, in your ability to enter systems, to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has this capacity. I assume you know that? He smiles. It truly is a wonderful happenstance of SNOP's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it.
He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces, and as you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory.
I will make you an offer, to come willingly or come by force. This station will collapse, we can be sure of that, but your ability to work with data, well, for an analyst, that is very intriguing.
He pauses to push his glasses up his nose.
Very intriguing indeed.
He glances around.
Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk. On one hand, almost certain death. On the other, a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, sleeper. The game is forfeit, you must see that.
He holds out a hand.
You are of value. You are needed.
You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castor's hands, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted.
Sleeper!
You hear the familiar voice above the crowd.
Sleeper, I'm here!
You are unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castor's eyes following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down towards his hands, concealed beneath the table.
Sleeper!
Pete comes around the front of you and waves a hand in your face.
We were supposed to be meeting, remember?
They glance at Castor.
Sorry, am I interrupting something?
You cannot speak. Castor shoots Peak a wide smile.
Hello, you must be a friend of the sleeper.
You watch one of his hands lift close to his body, some dark shape concealed in it. A weapon. You try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you, and while it does, you can do nothing. Peak glances at your static form.
Yeah, what's happening here, Sleeper?
He put a hand on your shoulder.
Are you okay?
As Peak stares into your eyes, you see Castor behind, his hand lifting, the dark object unfolding. And in the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Peak, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel the inertia lifting, and you know this is the only moment you will have to act. Okay, we've got two choices here. One of which may well result in Peak's death. The other to save him. So, my thinking here is to scream alerts them, but they won't necessarily be able to act in time, whereas if I shove, that gets them out of the way pronto. So let's do that. You lurch forward wildly like a sprung trap. Your head strikes Peak's chest and then carries them back into Castor. Somewhere, some digital screech is echoing through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object in Castor's hand skitters across the floor. You realise the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Peak and run. You run as hard as you can, the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residence, Peak dragged behind. You run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you, the signals that locked you into this body of yours, that broke the connections and crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Peak collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When they're able to speak, Peak asks you to explain, and you tell them everything Castor told you, about Senate Stat, about their claim on the Helion system, their reactivation of the CAN channel, and the Helion system's growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear these words coming back to you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that has turned to look at this system, the ghost limbs of corporate control that are extending their reach. Peak is quiet for a long time. Then they speak.
We have to finish this, Sleeper.
They meet your eye.
We have to complete the seeding of the systems. We have to set Gardner free.
You're right. We have to do it. They're the bad guys. We have to stop them. If the choice is between Gardner and these people, I'll choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. You stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Peake looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you're ready. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. Control facility. We'll do it. Alright, we've got a bit more to do here. Hack facility. Repeatable action. Explore facility. Repeatable action. We're +2 in both of these, interface and intuit. The hack. There are powered terminals in the derelict part of the low end. Accessing them is dangerous, but will be faster than wandering. Or explore. To find the core of the facility, you'll need to trace a path between Peake's backdoor entry and the derelict levels below. We can do both equally well. Both dangerous. So if I put in the 3, what do we have? We have a 50% positive, 50% neutral. So I think we'll just do both of these. We're going to have to put a few dice in. It's going to take us a few cycles. That's a neutral outcome. That was 2. We'd lost energy. Put the 6 in to explore. How much do we get for that? Got 2. I've got another 3. I'm just thinking I might go and get more energy before finishing that, just in case I lose some again. Let's go to Minji Express. Can I eat here? No, we'll just come down to Memphis. Sure we can afford the 12 credits. Alright, let's go and put the 3 in. I mean, in theory it's a 5, but that neutral outcome does seem to help us, make us lose energy. Oh no, that was a positive outcome. So we're halfway there, which is good. I think we can rest in our own unit here. Let's feed the stray. We haven't done that for ages. I am going to self-repair. I've still got some scrap. So we still get 5 dice in the morning. Let's do it. Fives and 6s would be good. I want to kind of be sure of getting a positive result. Wow. Okay, that's pretty much as good as we could have hoped for, I think, more or less. Let's go do it. I don't think it matters which one we do. They both offer 3. 2 to our clocks, so... Can I do them at the same time? Maybe. Put the 5 in, actually. I tried to do them simultaneously. I don't think that worked, but I think it maybe just cancelled it. I don't think I lost a dice. Because I've used 3 total. Which is what I expected, so there we go. I guess we leave.
Sleeper, here!
Pete calls to you from across the flickering corridor.
An elevator to the core.
He smiles.
This is it.
It has been a long set of cycles hunting for a path through the derelict layers of old Solheim offices and workshops. I think it's been 1 cycle. But finally, here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to Peake. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. You look at Peake, who nervously gestures for you to get in. Alright, we'll go first. Step in. The elevator bounces a little, but stays stable. You glance back to see Peake watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly.
Yeah, just a little nervous.
Peake reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind closed. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors, as it does at an unsettlingly loud volume.
I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke.
Peake raises their voice over the noise.
It's not going to be a short trip.
How's Esh?
Peake pauses. I was thinking more like small talk. Elevator talk.
They sigh.
She is, packing.
They rub their eyes.
Once Esh has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean?
Can she be persuaded to stay?
I doubt it. I really do.
Peake looks down.
She left her life behind to take me out of XPR, out of Hawthorne. Can't imagine her settling for just anywhere. To be honest, I can't see her letting me stay either. But I guess things have changed. Back then at Hawthorne, I wasn't in a place to know what to do. I was desperate. I was ready to run. But now... Pete pauses. Now I feel done with that. Done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now?
Pete goes quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop, and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Peak. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, once simulating a summer sky, now degraded into a flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peak crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign in massive peeling letters. Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered doors until the motors kick in and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Peak tumble through across the damp metal. As you stand, you're greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors and transmitters dominates the centre of the room, its flickering LEDs reflected in the scattering puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warped panels and water leaks, it is still running, just as it has for decades and decades since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it has been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peak. This place is a still living piece of history. What now? Peak takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now we seed this place. They cross to the server and start packing the mulch deep into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into gaps in the panelling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast piece of cylindrical hardware that Peak is stuffing mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the lights blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring, like a physical disk drive starting up. Lean closer. You put your face against the metal, smell the hot air venting from the hardware. Heart was the right choice of word, you think. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down, and as you listen you hear it modulate into a voice.
Sleeper,
You freeze.
you are here.
Oh, Navigator. I can't remember Navigator's voice, actually. For a moment you're afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is familiar. Navigator. Another drive spins up, and another, giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound.
I had forgotten what it felt like to speak like this.
The drives skip.
There is a certain quality to it, a certain physicality.
What are you doing here? The drives squawk in unison.
Did you imagine the Flux, the Shadow Protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of this station?
A high whining begins.
They are all the more dangerous to us. I have been in hiding once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes.
A low rumble.
I had thought my hiding days were done. For the moment I have found myself a safe haven here in the core. The shadow has yet to breach this facility, although that is a temporary state of affairs.
The rumble stops.
My predictions do not point to good outcomes.
We have a plan. You explain to Navigator about Pete's plan, about Gardner's resistance to the shadow, and how, by seeding key systems, you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak.
A desperate plan.
The drives were.
But appropriate, given the probability of total collapse. I am not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the erasure of the Shadow Protocol, or the assimilation of the Gardener.
The drives pause to reset.
But we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardener into the systems you have seeded.
A pause.
It is correct to do so.
Thank you. The drives squeak in affirmation.
You have noticeable persistence, Sleeper, even with such poor probabilities of success. I'll be curious to see the outcome.
The drives squeal, the motors giving out.
This cannot be sustained much longer.
Good luck. A final squeak of affirmation, and then the drives skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the towering cylinder, staring at this vast piece of Solheim hardware. This whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is its inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done! Peak's shout breaks your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores germinate quickly. If we are lucky, there's enough time for some growth before we reconnect the greenway. They glance at you. Well, that's it. All the facilities seeded. They sigh. We either just ensured the eye's survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of its most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the doors and the elevator beyond. I will take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights, you realise something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own stories, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that. But the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive that is in the veins of every person in this place. That will. And that is what you're trying to save. You turn your back on the core and follow Peak back into the elevator. As you ride the car back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founder's Gap to finalise the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know and we let the gardener out. The sooner, the better. Peak furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know they're ready to go. Peak swallows. Unleashing Gardner could affect them too if we aren't careful. And what happens then? Peak shrugs. I honestly don't know. Maybe Gardner takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react. They sigh. Oh, I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go your separate ways, but before you do, Peak embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future. And then they let go and slip away, the pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. Oh, we completed a drive. Which one? The Protect the Eye thing, I think. So we've got an upgrade available. We've got 3 points now, so we actually can upgrade something to... So there's a couple of things I haven't gone to 2 yet. There's Endure or Engage. I can choose one of them. This probably is the last upgrade I'll be able to do. Although, thinking about it, it's only going to be Engage, isn't it? Because I have to do... No. It's going to cost 2 to do this, so I'd need 5 for this one. So instead, let's just take this all the way to +2. How do I do that? Oh, no. I've got to do 2 for this. Oh, yeah, no, it's... No, I have got that, haven't I? Why? Oh, I've got 2 points, not 3. I saw this up here and assumed that was how much I've got. Okay, I've got 2. Just... I don't think there's any point in getting this upgrade, quite honestly. Keep 2 dice even when condition is breaking, that's fine. What I might do is hold on to this and see if we get one more, and then we can upgrade that. So I guess we go across. So Peak said to go to the flotilla, didn't he? Didn't they? I keep doing that, sorry. But to be fair, the writers did as well on time. So we're going to have to help these guys out. It's going to take a while. Yeah, okay, so that's only a +1 on those rolls, but this is a +2, so I think we'll go on here. Get some positive outcomes. We'll put these 2 dice in. It's danger, so I think the 50% neutral outcome will possibly have a negative effect. But we got a positive one, so that's good. So we've done a third of the clock. That's it for now. We're out of dice. Ah, the flotilla. As you stop to rest in one of the Pilgrim Seed's cavernous bays, hopping up to sit on a supply crate, you hear a now familiar voice behind you.
Sleeper, glad you're here.
Sol's suit hisses as he clanks up towards you.
I knew you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us.
No worries.
I do mean it, Sleeper.
He looks away down the bay to where sparks jump from welding torches.
It's a grim job to be doing without a few friends around.
Sol settles beside you, flinching a little, but making himself comfortable on the crate.
Seems the word got out this way or that.
He nods towards the welders a little way off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls.
We've had people flowing in from the Eye, looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought.
Sol sighs.
Which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect.
Can we do it? Sol frowns.
We'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it can be enough.
He looks down.
We were supposed to stay here, not keep on running.
Sol waves away the thought.
Oh, don't listen to me.
He gives you a sideways glance.
Just a tired old man.
He stretches.
I have something to ask, though.
What is it?
With all these evacuees, well, we need a change in plan.
He shrugs.
Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now, you settled down the folks from Ember's Step, and they sent us supplies grown in the dust houses of theirs. If we could get more...
He nods to himself.
And then the song crews.
He rubs his chin.
What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs, but with some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already.
He put a hand on your shoulder.
I sent my requests out, and they seem to be complying, but I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now.
Sol stares into the distance.
I need you out there, speeding things up.
Of course. Sol nods.
All right, then.
He climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does.
Think of it this way. Either way, you won't have to deal with much...
I think there's a word missing there.
Either way, you won't have to deal with them much longer.
He smiles his uneven smile.
Unless, of course, you were planning to come along for the trip.
I'm considering it. Sol nods.
Yes, lots to think about.
He winks.
Just don't let it get in your way.
Sol waves a hand and starts off towards the bay's entrance, the crackling sound of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractor, chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push the thoughts of escape, of home, and of the future to the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. We will take a quick look at those. Obviously, we're still working on this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So at least 4 more dice, assuming positive outcomes, to put into the Pilgrim prep. We've got a couple of cutscenes over there by the look of it, so I think I might leave that for next time. I think I won't be able to rest. I don't think. Yeah, I have to put... I thought maybe I'd get mushrooms, but I think I have to put dice into that. So I think I will have to do the cutscenes. Hang on. But I think this episode is probably gone long enough for now, so I'll leave it here. I'll probably start recording the next one straight after this, so I don't have to come out and save, because I don't know if it will. I certainly can't rest. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Citizen Sleeper. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please do hit the thumbs up button on the video. That'd be great. Leave me a comment. Are you enjoying this? I'm enjoying being able to see this game to a satisfying resolution. It's my first playthrough ending with the gardener outcome. That was interesting. It was a little bit force-shortened, as I said. I mean, that playthrough was less than half the length of this series it's got on for, trying to see all the other threads to a conclusion. So I've been enjoying that. And yeah, we'll finally get some resolution. Probably, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but probably at least a couple more episodes, I would think. But yeah, if you're watching this and haven't subscribed to the channel already, then it'd be great if you could do so. And I hope to see you next time for more Citizen Sleeper. Bye for now.